Do my eyes deceive me? On the right, it does seem we have a beautiful Okapi, my friends. Far in the distance, a yellow-backed diker as well, one of the rarest animals in all the reserve. Now you see, the Okapi is quite unique because they were largely believed to be a mythological species up until the 1900s. Yeah, British scientists just refused to accept the idea that there was a donkey-bodied, zebra-striped, giraffe-neck critter hiding out there in the forest with a 21-inch long tongue and the ability to, I kid you not, sometimes go upwards of 4 months without defecating. Now, while that's crazy, the yellowback diker is even cooler. You see, they derive their name from the local term for diver, and this is mainly because they dive into the foliage the moment they feel scared. Now, on our right, you'll also note the enormous nest of an equally enormous bird. Now, there is one hunkered down in there, but I doubt most of you can see him, so I'll see if I can cruise around and find another. You see, typically, the saddle-built stork, the folks who built that nest, live in pairs. They mate for life, right? Real romantic critters. Always leaving one adult behind to look after the young, while the other can go out and search for food and have a little fun. It ensures that neither of the adults gets too stressed out. I am seeing some disturbance on the surface, which means that there might very well be some large mammals in the region. Oftentimes, creatures come from far and wide in order to get a drink here, and therefore, oftentimes, many predators quickly follow. So just keep your eyes peeled and don't be afraid to tell me if you spot anything. Sadly, these rivers are oftentimes quite under threat due to... Wait a second! On our left, it does seem there's an enormous Nile hippopotamus, my friends. The larger of the hippo species that you find out here in Africa, these impressive creatures actually develop incredibly dense bones, which allow them to sink like a rock in the waterway. This means they're able to waddle along the bottom of the river, as opposed to swimming most of the time, though they are perfectly capable of doing so. It's mainly just a matter of what's most energy efficient. And right up ahead, oh man, the natural predator of the safari truck, a rickety old bridge. But we should be A-okay, so long as there aren't any, Nile crocodiles on the left. These impressive creatures can be anywhere from 14 to 16 feet long. And they actually have incredible sensory bits all across their faces that allow them to detect the slightest vibrations within the waterways. Now, upon detecting their prey, they can actually jump nearly their entire body length out of the water. So, we should probably get out of here. And on our left, one of my favorite critters. Now, they are pretty hard to spot. They're on the right side over by this huge den here. These, my friends, are the African painted dog. And man, they're beautiful, aren't they? You see, these remarkable creatures are among the smaller of the true hyper-carnivores out here on the reserve. They weigh only like 60 pounds, which is smaller than some of the dogs I got back home. But these fantastic creatures are still amongst the most effective of the predators out here on the reserve, because they always take turns chasing after their prey to ensure that nobody gets too exhausted. And unlike other mammals, instead of declaring every man for himself whenever food's on the table, they oftentimes allow the young, the elderly, and the sick to eat first. Now, many animals would rather not be eaten, so creatures like the sable antelope far behind us and the ankole, pretty darn close to us here, are well known for their unique survival strategies. The sable antelope in particular, instead of running away when they feel scared, will actually stand their ground and exhibit a remarkable tenacity in the defense of their young. And you know, just like they fight to defend themselves, we want to always be fighting for conservation. Because you see, no matter our situation, well, we are just as much reliant on this ecosystem as any other species. You're breathing the same fresh air right now, drinking the same fresh water, and all our food is derived from the rich soil supplied by a thriving biosphere. Now, speaking of the human impact on the ecosystem, these big ol' ankole aren't entirely native to the region, you see. They're descended from the European auroch, the progenitor of all modern cattle, and were brought down here by the ancient Egyptians thousands of years ago in order to develop the ultimate savanna livestock over thousands of years of selective breeding. Now, if you have a keen eye, you'll also note there is a beautiful Hodman's mountain zebra in the distance. Yes, you see, the Hodman's mountain zebra is a remarkable creature, oftentimes traveling alongside the giraffe because they know the giraffe will act as a natural lookout post for them. But don't tell the giraffe, but the Hodman's mountain zebra is living something of a dud. It's strictly outside of dress code. So we have to continue our journey. Up ahead here, though, we do have some beautiful cheetahs. Ain't they just marvelous? These creatures will develop distinctive spots all across their body, which actually help them to camouflage in with their environment. You see, these spots break up their silhouette, meaning that in the mind's eye, you're less likely to identify them as a potential predator. Now, while they're walking about, they are pretty darn easy to spot, or at least we'd like to think so. But once they're in hunting mode, man, I swear these guys disappear. They're practically ninjas. And you see, fascinatingly enough, they're able to run at speeds comparable to that of what you might even see on a highway. Now, these incredible creatures have to have unique adaptations to achieve such a remarkable feat. And oh, wait a second, I think I see the reason we're stopped up. If you look deep into the foliage on our right, you will see there's a rhino on the move, coming down the hillside. Yes, these huge creatures might seem slow and lumbering at times, but they actually are able to run at upwards of 30 miles per hour when they need to, developing anywhere from 3 to 4 inches of thick skin across their body, which acts like a natural suit of armor. Ain't they just adorable? Now you see. Oh boy, it's really going on tough. These remarkable creatures typically won't have to run from predators, but in some cases they will run towards them. Because you see, if they ever hear a threat nearby, they will immediately move to place their bodies between their young and these dangers, as their little ones are far more vulnerable than the adults. And oh, I see the lions taking quite a... I'm dying up here! Yeah, no, it's not any issues, just Savanna allergies, I swear. But those wonderful animals over there needn't worry about allergies. You see, the lion is one of the most impressive of all the predators out here on the preserve. Oftentimes, going through and having an interesting division of labor between the males and the females. You see, the females, they're going to be doing the majority of the hunting, right? Working together with incredibly complex strategies to bring down prey, sometimes far larger than themselves. Now, the males, on the other hand, once they reach full maturity, can be nearly 100 pounds larger than the females, and will develop an immense mane. But you might think, wait a second, Marshall, if they ain't helping with hunts, what's the point? Well, you see, the guys actually have a pretty important role. They act as well both boyfriend, bodyguard, and babysitter. Yes, while that mane is great for display purposes, it also serves as a natural shield, defending the vulnerable neck regions from the attacks of creatures like hyenas. You see, many animals will attempt to take out the lion's young before they can reach maturity. So therefore, the males will stay home and oftentimes will constantly patrol, ready to leap into action at a moment's notice to fend off any predator that would otherwise harm their little ones.